have it. No! Still so much to learn.
Hey guys, so in this video we're going to go over the new build I've been playing. This one is a Spark Charge Sorcerer with Lightning Blast and Static Orb. And in this video we're going to cover two main variants. The first one is going to be a more meta version, you could say. It's got a good balance of clear, very good clear, good single target, and very good defense. So that's the one I'm actually currently playing right now, and then we're going to go over another version that's basically a pure Lightning Blast build. We're not using Static Orb in that version, and that one is, I mean, the clear is okay. It's passable, I would say. Defenses are okay as well. It's pretty much the same depending on how you kind of configure it, but the single target damage is quite a lot better. It's about like 40 to 50% more single target DPS when you set it up this way. There's quite a few ways to actually set this build up. You can even run Frostclaw on this with the Elemental Novas and play Spark Charge Elemental Nova in this setup if you want to do that. So there's a lot of really cool ways and skills you can use in this build, much like the brand version, the brand build that we made before. Alright, so the build I'm playing now is a low life build, and that's because I'm using the Shattered Worlds Relic. Now, if you don't have one of these, then maybe it might be better to just run a Twisted Heart setup and skip the low life setup altogether. Who knows? I haven't really tried any of those kind of other setups, not using, low life gear, but I will try them. I would say like maybe the next couple of days, because I'm interested in seeing how a Twisted Heart setup would be, because that's going to be quite a lot cheaper to set up. So right now in this video, we're only going to cover the version that I'm playing, a more expensive version. But, later on, next couple of days, I'll be making some more cheaper budget versions and putting out videos for that. So stay tuned if you're interested in those kind of setups. Alright, so let's jump into a little bit of gameplay before we actually go over the build and the skills. We can kind of see it in action live. And I do have a boss ready, as well as a, where'd it go? Imperial War Camp we can go jump into. Alright, so the way the build basically plays in the more, the meta version, you could say, with the Static Orb is there is a passive in the Mage tree, if we can go find it over here. So Arcane Current. Now with the 4-point bonus, it says Static Orb applies Spark Charges pretty much. So Static Orb is going to apply these, and Static Orb can hit multiple times, as well as all of the how would you say, the small little orbs, also the scatter blasts, as well as the tendrils when it explodes. All of these are going to be applying spark charges, so we get quite a lot of hits, right? And the way it plays is we just kind of, run around, and Static Orb blows everything up, right? So we get a lot of spark charge hits. Unfortunately, it's not really kind of viable to only play Static Orb. I think the mana situation is a little bit, how would you say, it's a little bit hard. Right, so anyways, then Lightning Blast actually is like quite a bit more DPS, right? We got the bear, we'll kill him off with Lightning Blast. Right, and notice that I'm actually healing up quite a bit, and it's because I'm actually using my potion for like healing, and it's actually kind of crazy. There's a node in Sorcerer where you get, how would you say, you get ward per int on your potion, and since we are stacking quite a bit of int, this ends up healing like quite a bit. And I am using the Alchemist Ladle, the Mad Alchemist Ladle, so then my potion also gives me mana, right? So we talk about how we get our mana back. If you notice that we can actually, use our Static Orb and run out of mana, and then you can see I'm like back to mana, like full mana. Right, and the way we actually manage our mana on the build is we have a little bit of mana regen, so we don't have to constantly worry about our mana, and then we're going to be using the standard like teleport and meteor setup. We'll go over that a little bit more in detail, and then also, with the Mad Alchemist Ladle, we have our potions also giving us, a little bit of mana. So actually, the potion mana is pretty good. I would say, like, if we actually go spend all of our mana, and you just pop some potions, like 2 potions, and we're back to like full mana, as well as giving like quite a lot of ward. So the kind of sustain on the build, pretty nice. Mana management isn't super annoying, but you know, it is something you have to do. So if you don't really like doing that, then maybe go play the Lightning Blast version, because that one doesn't really have to manage the mana as much. Alright, but this is like kind of like what the Monolith is like. You can go run around, but anyways, let's go see what the boss DPS looks like. Alright, so let's go run the boss. I'm still farming this guy all the way up to 1,000 corruption because he hasn't given me a decent rolled blessing. Anyway, so maybe we'll get it on this run. I tend to get good blessings when I do, what do you call it, record videos. Anyway, so you can see we do sometimes want to just like use our static orbs because they are going to apply quite a lot of spark charges, but this is kind of how I'm just bossing. I just load up some spark charges, some static orbs, and then just hold down lightning blast, and every now and then just use my flame ward and potions, because the potions actually give me quite a lot of cast speed because we're using the sanguinous chest. But anyways, that's sort of what it's like at 1,000 corruption. Just kind of delete bosses. Do we get it? And no, we didn't. So I'm trying to get the armor blessing, and I have a decent roll, but I do want to get over 300 at least. Alright, so let's take a look at the build. First of all, let's go over the different skills we're using. And so this is going to be the setup for the static orb setup, and later on in the video I'll kind of touch on the pure lightning blast version, and you can also go check out the planner for that. But so first of all, let's talk about let's start off with our static orb. So static orb, there's only a couple of things here that really are important, in that we just make it orbit so we can get all the small little orbs and then get some more damage, and then lightning aegis. And there is some like extra points here, 5 points you can do something with. You can get extra lightning blast chains after you've casted it. That's kind of nice, like 2 extra chains. Or what you can do is, like what I'm doing, is more focused on clearing monoliths. So if you want to just take this setup and do a little bit more single target, you'd probably go into the fusion blast setup. But this gives you ward on stun, and we are stunning quite a lot even at 1,000 corruption. So this is just nice for some sustain. And then for lightning blast, so lightning blast, we need a level 24 lightning blast if you want to play this setup like optimally. And first of all, let's talk about convergence. So you notice that I only have 3 points in arcane power and 2 points in chain lightning. And that's because so when we take convergence, our chains get halved for lightning blast, right? So right now we have 2 by default, and then we have another 3 here and another 2 here, right? So that means I have 7 chains, and that's going to get cut in half, right, to 3.5. But then convergence rounds up, so that means it's going to be 4 chains. So basically with convergence, you always want to be on an odd number, because if I had 8 chains, it would still be 4, when it gets halved. So make sure you're always on an odd number, so either like 7 or 3 or whatever, and so you can get the the most benefit, because going up to even number isn't going to increase the number of chains. So that's that. And then after that, we just grab the spark charge stuff and the extra casts. And 1 point in lightning aegis. This is enough, even though it's 5% only. This is enough to have it up pretty much 100% of the time in bossing. And then flame ward. This is just a full defense setup with a little bit of offense, right? So that's kind of what we're using. Go look at the planners, and then teleport. All we really need is the mana tunnel. Right, and then we get stun immunity. We get this is nice here, extra armor, cold res, and cold res not really that important anymore. I was using frostbite shackles, but now I'm not using it. But the extra armor is pretty big. And then meteor. The purpose of meteor is just to give us mana back with the aftermath node. So basically, what we do is we cast teleport with mana tunnel, and then right after that we cast meteor, and then meteor is going to refund some mana, pretty much. So that's how we get our mana sustain. And so we want to increase the cost of meteor by quite a bit. We can do that like over here, and then there's some more cost here and over here. So that's why we're using meteor. All right, so let's go over the gear. So for the gear, for the wand, we're using the Mad Alchemist Ladle. Quite a few reasons to use this wand. First of all, the more damage we get from like the different ailments we stack on the target. Second of all, this fixes cast speed. So we are stacking int. I used to have 193 int, and if I go for like a full, full DPS kind of setup, you can see we get like 213 int. So basically this fixes our cast speed. If we take a look at the cast speed, 143% cast speed with no buffs, and this is going to go up by quite a bit. You see we start casting, and then we get the Craterborn buff and get our lightning Aegis, and see we're all the way up to like 250% cast speed. All right, is it 250? Oh no, yeah, we go to like 270% cast speed. So, and a lot of that is just coming from the Mana Alchemist Ladle because we get cast speed per int. Okay, so that's one reason. And then also the mana gained per potion. So you can see we can actually kind of dump our mana, you could say, and then use a potion and get like a pretty decent amount of mana back. So that's between the potion and the meteor is how I am managing my mana. Alright, so what affixes do we want on the wand? We want to get crit multi and then spell crit chance, or cast speed, whichever one you want. And also one thing to note is with the wand, we need to apply up to 8 negative ailments to actually get the full benefit, right? So in this case, we have 5 from the wand, and then I have blind on here, and then I have chill and shock from my ring here. So this is enough to actually cap out the wand. I'm not sure if lightning lightning exposure counts for this. I'm guessing it would. Maybe someone who's a little bit more knowledgeable can put that in the comments, but make sure you are pretty much getting up to 8 negative ailments on the target. This build, yeah, we get it from, and also blind is nice because right now I don't have any crit damage reduction. There's another setup I want to move into with the dominance of the tundra. This is going to give me my crit damage reduction pretty much, but until then, blind is pretty nice. Okay, and then for the helmet, so basically, we go look inside my stash actually. You can see that, yeah, I have quite a lot of these dominance of the tundras, and none of them have hit the mods that I want. So until then, I'm using the the bone clamor. It's actually pretty good because this fixes necrotic res and has one more point of int. The plus to the dominance of the tundra is you get a lot more armor, and then you also get the reduced damage from crit. So with the dominance of the tundra endgame setup with actually a good pair of gloves like one of these bases, you are going to be getting, right now, how much do we have? I have like 32% armor, like 40% armor, but endgame with, the dominance of the tundra setup, and you can even go armor idols. We'll get into the idols, we're kind of jumping ahead here, but it's possible to get all the way up to about, right now I'm at 30% damage reduction, but it's possible to get like 80% damage reduction. So you can actually get quite a lot of armor on this build as well, if you want to focus on that. Right now, I'm more focused on just doing a lot of damage. So that is the helmet. For the affixes here, we want to get int, and then we need +2 to lightning blast. So remember, lightning blast needs to have at least 24 levels into it. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to pick up the hypercharge node, which is a pretty big DPS increase. So yeah, and we're getting our levels for lightning blast. So we have 2 from the helmet, and then we have 1 on the relic, and then 1 on the catalyst. So that's how we are getting level 24. If you were using a Twisted Heart, like I mentioned before, you would also get a +1 to elemental skills. So it doesn't really matter. As long as you have a +2 to lightning blast on your helmet, you should be fine. And then let's see. So let's go over the body armor. So in the low life setup, I'm using Exanguinus. We're going to get just int and health. It's pretty much all you want. The more health we get, the more ward regen we get. And then for the fragment of the Enigma, we need to get void res here. I would say you can't really get fizz res on these catalysts, so we get crit multi, cast speed. If you don't have your spell crit, then you can get spell critical strike chance here as well. And then for the amulet, so basically all we really want is crit multi, spell crit, and then your fizz res. So this amulet basically fixes your fizz mitigation. And then we want Shred Armor. Very important you get Shred Armor because this and your wand is your only source of Shred Armor. So make sure, and the wand roll is actually, it only goes up to like what, 40%-ish. So that's kind of low. So you want to get a bit on your amulet as well, I think. Maybe even on the gloves too, you can get it there. But there's other affixes we would want to get on the gloves instead. So I think you just get it on the amulet. Okay, so ring setup. I really like the crab ring because of the movement speed we get. Using the crab ring, we just want int, you know, fix your res, that kind of stuff. Not really much else to get here. Okay, and then for the second ring, we're going to use the ocean ring, and all you really need is int over here. Pretty much all you need. Probably end game, you could go into a red ring, I would say. You would have to get shock from somewhere because I think this is my only source of shock right now. Okay, so for the belt, Orion's Descent. So there's two belt options. One, Orion's Descent because of the int, and we want to get potion converted to ward. Right, so that's the only really affix we need here. And there is another thing you can do, another belt. So there is these belts over here with the champion affix for Lightning Blast to chain 4 additional times. Honestly, I'm not really sure. This one is actually quite a bit more single target damage on Lightning Blast. But it is a little bit annoying because you do have to get your potion converted to ward. I mean, I guess you don't really need to, but on a low life setup, you definitely do want to convert to ward. Otherwise, whenever time you use a potion, you're going to heal up and then you're going to lose your ward regen. And like I mentioned, my potions are healing quite a bit, right? It's like 3 potions and I'm up to like 11k, 12k ward. So when you're in a pinch, this really does help. Okay, so, and then if you are going to use the champion belt, then you want to get potion converted to ward, and then you can use idols to get another little bit. I don't really think you need to be exactly 100. So mine's like 50 over here, and then this one 25, 25. So if I use both of these idols, then it'll put me back at 100. We'll have to lose some idols, so I'll lose a little bit of crit multi and some health, but anyways. So that's this kind of belt here. Ideally you would get health, hybrid health, increased health on the suffixes for this belt, and then it would be pretty amazing. I don't know, losing 25 int is pretty big since, you know, we are using Fragment of the Enigma to give us more, what do you call it, spell lightning damage for spark charges per int. I think the simple option, yeah, just use Orion's Descent with this potion converted to ward, and you'll be good to go. Okay, so for the gloves, we want to get the experimental mod over here, 20% of current health lost per second, and then missing health gained as ward per second. So this combined with the Exsanguinous Last Step of the Living and this belt gives us quite a lot of ward, how would you say, regen. So this is 20 here, so it's 40, so we have 55% of our health gained as ward. So it's quite a lot of ward regen. I was using a pair of gloves like the Frostbite Shackles, but I don't really think these are worth it, and mainly it's because we don't have a lot of good suffixes to get a lot of cold res for the gloves to even really be worth it. And so I think in the end, if we use a good armored pair of gloves with the experimental mod and like hybrid health and that kind of stuff, actually ends up being, how would you say, the same ward, or basically the same amount of ward. So, and then as a plus, you get extra armor. So I think using a rare or exalted pair of gloves is going to be the play at the end. Okay, so for the boots, all we really need is int, and if you can, you get movement speed or hybrid health over here. Okay, for the relic, Shattered Worlds, and if you can get T7 int, then get int here, and that'll be pretty amazing. Okay, but so this is also where we're getting our crit, by the way, so make sure your crit roll is as high as possible. It's the only thing that really matters. And let's go over the idols. So there is a lot of idol setups you can do. Actually, like quite a lot. There is a setup for pure armor where you can get like 10k armor. There's a setup for pure life where you get just tons of life and tons of ward. You get over 10k ward. Or there is a setup with full crit multi jewels. I mean, crit multi idols. You get tons of crit multi. And there is a setup that I'm doing now with the cast speed with lightning aegis to get insane cast speed. You see, we're up to like 270% cast speed. And one thing to note, cast speed is probably going to be one of the biggest DPS increases because of the way Lightning Blast works. First of all, Lightning Blast only has a 30% chance to apply Spark Charge. So the more Lightning Blasts we're casting, the more chances we have to apply these Spark Charges, as well as giving us more chances to double cast, more chances to quadruple cast, and if we're using the belt here, more chances for this Lightning Blast to chain 4 additional times. And I'm not really sure about this, but someone in my Discord told me that this chain happens after the halves on Lightning Blast. So that means when this procs, you get just 4 additional chains. These don't get halved into 2, basically. I'm not really sure. I haven't really tested that myself. Anyways, so cast speed is the name of the game. So I think for a full DPS setup, these idols, these cast speed with Lightning Aegis idols are going to be best in slot. Then you get some other idol slots. You can get some ward retention, some health. And then you can fix your void res, you can fix some resistances here, and then you can get 2 idols, 2 stout idols. So you can get, I'm getting some health, ward retention, and this one, a little bit of crit because, you know, I need to get, this basically puts me at 100%. So I could actually just run 2 health idols if you want to get more ward, but anyways. So, and then let me just show you all the idols. I bought all these idols testing these out. So I did a full health setup, right? You do full health and full crit setup. Bought a bunch of these like armor idols, right? And basically, if you want to do the max armor setup, which is actually kind of fun, pretty tanky, you just run a whole bunch of these 5% armor and then flat armor idols, and everything is just these idols, pretty much. It's kind of funny, and I'll probably go back to that setup when I get these gloves and I get the Dominance of the Tundra setup, and get all the way up to like 8k, 10k armor, and pretty much just never die. Anyways, for now, this is kind of the setup I'm enjoying quite a bit. And yeah, let's go over the different blessings. So, blessings, we get crit multi from Black Sun. Ending the Storm, we get lightning resistance shred. Then Rain Dragons, we get the resistances. Dominant, the Age of Winter, we get armor. And then from the Spirits of Fire, we get armor. And that's pretty much it. Alright, so for the passives, standard mage was set up over here. Then in sorcerer, this is kind of what we're using. This is how pretty fun, I'd say. We get a lot of ward per int. So like say we have if we have 200 int, this gives me 600 ward per potion, basically. So pretty OP. And then this node over here, Arcane Current, this is how our static orb is applying spark charges. And then notice I'm taking a little bit of mana stuff here, and that's because you do want a little bit of mana regen. If you're comfortable playing with, how would you say, your current mana, then you don't really need this mana regen. I was actually running the Archmage setup just to get a little bit of refund back when my mana situation was a little bit worse. But now it's actually gotten a bit better. I think now that I've gotten more int, and that kind of stuff, it's definitely starting to get quite a bit better because now I can rely on my potions to give me mana back when I actually really need it. So now I'm just actually spec'd into Spell Slinger instead of Archmage. Anyways, you don't want to get any kind of leech on the low life setup, so that's why we're not taking the leech node here. And then Rune Master is basically pretty much standard setup here. I'm missing 2 levels, so those will go into Sphere of Protection once I've leveled up a bit more. Okay, so let's go over the pure Lightning Blast setup. And what you do is you basically run static over here, and then you run, instead of, you won't really run Meteor. I guess you could. So there's 2 ways to set it up. You can do it like this, and all you do is you get rid of Static Orb, right? And then you spec into Static. And what you do is you just come here and you grab all of this stuff here. All of this. And then you get the max charges, and then put whatever the points wherever else. I just put it into high voltage. So this, you're gonna permanently sustain the overload node, because Lightning Blast crits are gonna give you a charge, and we're hitting so many times with Lightning Blast at 100% spell crit, so you're pretty much always maxed. And that's kind of what you do. Just run around and push Lightning Blast. But that's pretty much it, guys. Next week, I guess, or next couple of days, we'll be doing a Twisted Heart version of this build. It'll be a little bit more budget friendly, so stay tuned to that if you're interested. But yeah, that'll be it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.